Alright, we're back with another week of the Harry Thomas Show Week in Review. Today is March 1st, 2008. The website is harrythomas.info. I'm your host, Harry Thomas. Before I get into all this news that I've got to cover, I want to make a couple announcements. First off, the Harry Thomas Show can be found on podcast now in two different places. So if the bandwidth goes out, you got a backup that has even more. And the links are right at the front page of harrythomas.info. And I also want to announce that the YouTube listeners or viewers, these segments, 10-minute segments, just are not long enough for me to cover everything that needs to be covered. So if you want to listen to the full show, I would actually suggest you start going to the podcast, because you're only going to be seeing about 10 minutes of the actual segment of the show. If you're interested in hearing the full show, tune into the podcast. You can subscribe and get notifications by email, all kinds of stuff. The links are all up. I've got all kinds of stuff to cover in the 4 segments that we have. Plus, I've got at least 3 more special reports of stuff that I just can't even possibly fit in. So let's get down to this. The president was speaking this week in a desperate effort to convince people to have faith in the economy. I mean, what a heck of a sale this is, huh? I mean, the economy is a total mess. And this guy gives an economic pep talk to people like himself who ignore reality and redefine words. And that's all this administration's been doing, is this double talk and this double speak. And they come out with these bills that are named one thing, but they're really the total opposite. You know, the Freedom Initiative, which is total tyranny. The Patriot Act, which is totally against the Constitution, is the most unpatriotic thing I've ever seen. I mean, all over and over, the Military Commissions Act. All this tyrannical legislation based on this fear of this wall of lies that we've been being told. Weapons of mass destruction. You got to be afraid of this. You got to be afraid of that. Meanwhile, our dollar's going right down the tubes. And there's this little parody picture here. It says, with Bush sitting there at the podium going, look at the economy's bright side. There are growing companies that produce weapons, coffins, and telephone surveillance devices. And ain't that the truth? I got this one come out February 13, 2008 by Andrew C. Wallace. Wake up, or you will die homeless and hungry. Most people are just like those in Nazi Germany under Hitler. Some see the evil affecting others, but will ignore it until it's too late. A majority of Americans are uninformed as a box of rocks because they rely on the controlled media propaganda for information. Our media is really amazing, run by liberals who do not have a clue that their liberal leaders are communists and that their corporate employers are fascists, with no loyalty to any country. The constitutional right of free press was to ensure that Americans get information that they must have to remain free. But our media is nothing more than a propaganda arm of the owners in the chain of command for treason, who are in the process of enslaving us and taking our sovereignty. 2 of our primary defenses against usurpation are the right to keep and bear arms and the right to freedom of speech. Both of these rights are under serious attack right now and could be instantly denied by traitors in government using existing unconstitutional policy. And that's what I'm talking about, these laws. They're all unconstitutional, and you're not bound to obey an unconstitutional law, but they're putting in such a power grid control mechanism that they're just getting everybody to go along with it. Same thing in Nazi Germany. I mean, a lot of people say, how could this happen, that so many people would follow along with evil? Well, open up your eyes and take a good look around here in America, because that's exactly what's happening with all these war on terror. It's a huge fraud. A huge fraud. They're clamping down with their global control, global taxes. They're killing everything that this country's supposed to stand for. And I'll tell you what, it makes me just about as mad as I can get, believe it or not. I mean, every week it comes out more and more. Towards the conquest of the Middle East and North Africa, the U.S. and the European Union and Israel join hands. See, our forefathers warned us about getting entangled with foreign alliances. You know, we're supposed to have, fair trade, commerce, but you don't have any political alliances, okay? Whatever happened to the values that our founding fathers shed their blood for to keep us free? And everybody's just walking around like this is okay. Like there's nothing wrong with this. The Mediterranean Union, NATO's role in conquering the Middle East and North Africa. In the first portion of this text, the long-standing plans for creating a Mediterranean Union. I mean, you got the African Union, European Union, they're trying to set one up in Asia. And are you really going to be that vain to sit there and say, oh yeah, that North American Union, that's a conspiracy theory. Yeah, that's not really happening. I mean, come on. Get your head out of your ass before we all get swallowed up by this tyranny. I mean, this here, you think what Adolf Hitler did was bad in Germany? Oh my God. You just wait and see what it's going to be like on a worldwide level. And we're already approaching that. NATO's expansion in the Mediterranean paving the way for EU enlargement. I mean, France and Germany are partners in the Anglo-American Wars and the Project for the New Middle East. Does that sound familiar? Project for the New Middle East? Project for the New American Century? Okay, that said they needed a Pearl Harbor style event to bring in their tyranny, their world government, their empire. They talk about solving every problem with military response. Is this what America is supposed to be? I mean, and people are just sitting there walking around going, oh, you're a nut for talking about that. What are you, crazy? That could never happen here. That doesn't affect me. You know, I had people tell me, Harry, don't you understand? We don't care what they do. As long as we can have our video games and our iPods, we don't care what them people do. I mean, come on. You have to care. We're talking about mass genocide here. And it's not even going to be race specific. In 2004 and 2007, European expansion followed the NATO expansion of the 1990s eastward into the European continent. And Israel is signing on to this. Israel joins the EU and NATO, okay? So see how the expansion of the European Union is moving now into the Middle East? And this is all for domination and control. The Rothschild arm of world government is Europe. Like Rockefellers are over here, and they've got the Japanese families over there. I mean, they're all working toward the same goal, you know, and they're all deciding who's gonna, how they're going to exercise their control. And this is sick. I mean, this is going on right in front of our faces. The importance of this and the fidelity and the outrage is not even showed by the media. I mean, think about that. The media is supposed to protect us from this. I mean, all these people have sworn to an oath to abide by the Constitution, to uphold it and protect it. And they're doing nothing but destroying it. That is treason. That is criminal activity, and I don't understand how people just allow it to happen. They're flushing America down the toilet, and you're allowing it to happen. I mean, come on. And when you laugh at people like myself and other people who just care enough that want to let you know what's going on, don't you know what you're doing? You're acting like the Nazis back there in Germany. It is not by chance that Israel is a partner in Operation Active Endeavor. And I just want to say to YouTube listeners, if you want to listen to the rest of the segment, you're going to have to tune into the podcast. And there's a link to that at the harrythomas.info.